Hello everyone, Seraphin here, welcome back for more Pokémon Soul Silver. When I last left you guys, we had just triumphantly defeated the bug catching contest, much to my surprise. Not that it's a bad thing by any stretch. That being said, I've got all my Pokemon back, and unfortunately I completely forgot that a lot of them are in need of some attention, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. But first, there's a bunch of goodies to get in this national park, and I gotta remember where that, here's the hole in the fence right here. This lets you get outside the boundaries of the park barrier there on the outside and grab some fun stuff like this Soothe Bell, for example. And the Soothe Bell is a little bit different than the... Actually, it's quite a bit different than the Shell Bell, in that while you have someone hold the Soothe Bell, their happiness will increase quicker, which is nice for Pokemon that require max happiness evolutions, so Golbat or Togetic or really a lot of the babies, I think. And we get a TM28 Dig, which is awesome. Dig is a great move. And it appears that it is now darker, which is interesting because, well, it's not any darker in real life, I don't think. Doesn't look like it. At any rate, moving on. There used to be more stuff you could grab on the other side of that. I guess they took that out. So, what we're going to do today, we've taken care of the national park. There's not a whole lot really to do here. Actually, I haven't fought any of the trainers yet, have I? I just kind of did the bug catching contest and went about my merry way, didn't I? Well, in that case, there's a couple of trainers I can dispatch with off to the side here. I suppose I can take care of them really quick. And there's a free berry here too, I believe, or an apricorn, I should say. In the old school games, this was a berry tree and gave I believe, a burnt berry, which cures you of being frozen, which is, let's just say, very situationally useful. And this guy here is a Psychic that has a Kadabra, if I'm not mistaken. And Kadabras are a big pain in my butt, because they hurt a lot. So far, just Abras, that's actually good. That being said, normally what Abra will only learn in the wild is Teleport. But I believe there are a couple of TMs that it can learn. Flash being among them, apparently. I don't know if that's all it does, but I think it's one of the few things it can learn. Back in the old days of the original Gold and Silver, you could actually get TMs for all of the elemental punches. So, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, and Ice Punch. And you could buy as many as you wanted from the store, and strangely enough, Abra could learn those. So it was pretty interesting to have an Abra that couldn't learn any psychic moves but could punch you in the face with varying elemental effects. And that Kinesis is going to screw me up here a little bit. If I can land one good hit on this thing, I think I'll be okay. But the fact that Nope, that's not happening. So I got to be careful here because this thing's going to mess me up in a big way. I might just need to revive my Slowpoke. I think it's the only thing capable of taking a decent hit from this thing and not dying in the process. Yeah, I might just need to do that. So, unfortunately, Chikorita's special defense is not adequate enough to deal with a level 16 Kadabra. And I don't have anything that's faster than that, certainly. Kadabra is incredibly fast. And you might be saying, it's not fully evolved yet. Well, it doesn't have to be, because that thing is just a monster on top of which. I can take a gamble and see if Ekans has a chance. I sincerely doubt it, but if I can land a bite off, that'd be enough. And it's... Nope, I'm too slow. I should have known. Ekans is... You would think Ekans would be faster, but it's not. It's actually fairly slow, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and bring out Slowpoke right away. It being Psychic type and having reasonably decent special defense should be able to take at least 1 or 2 hits from this thing. I'm hoping, because otherwise this is going to be a really short fight. I'm noticing a distinct problem in my team of not having anything that can adequately deal with Kadabra. And that's going to be a problem later on down the line, although thankfully there is no Psychic type gym in this generation. There is a Psychic type Elite 4 member, although he doesn't have an Alakazam or anything like that, so let's see if I can put him to sleep. Of course, if he keeps doing the stupid Kinesis garbage. It's gonna be really hard to hit him. Fun fact, you don't, or I don't know if it's the case any longer, but back in the day with the old school games, Abra, Kadabra, Alakazam, none of them in that line actually naturally learn Kinesis by leveling up. The only way to get Kinesis was to catch a wild Kadabra that already had it. And I think it learns it, I think it's supposed to learn at level 15 or 16 or something like that, right when it evolves. But unless you catch it in the wild, it won't have it. And to be honest, Kinesis is a, you know, fairly niche move and doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot, but it lowers an opponent's accuracy, so it's the same thing as Flash that Abra was using on me earlier. Alright, I just need to land one hit and this guy will go down. Although, considering I've been... Oh yeah, I can take a couple of those. Okay, that should do it for him. Yep, there we go, got him. Pretty sad that I had to revive my Slowpoke and use that only revive that I had, but hey, more XP for Slowpoke. And at least we have something that can adequately handle those beefy Psychic type. Ooh, speaking of confusion. Do I want to forget a move? Well, here's the rub. I like having Water Gun for the stab, and I don't have a good Water-type Pokemon on my team, but they're really easy to get. Psychic is not so easy to get. So I think we're going to go the Confusion route. I want to keep Yawn, because putting people to sleep is really useful, and Curse is too good, so we're going to go ahead and drop Water Gun for Confusion here. And I should be able to obtain a Water-type Pokemon in the not-too-distant future that will allow me to get some good water coverage. Water is the most prolific type in the entire game. Generally speaking, you're capable of finding something that can learn it. Honestly, and Water Gun is not even that good of a move. So, okay, so this is going to be fun. I'm going to have a hard time hitting this guy because I'm getting accuracy destroyed. I only need to hit him once. Although, to be honest, I don't think this Abra knows any offensive moves, so we could probably be safe with switching out for something else. Why don't we switch in for Spearow? Because Spearow actually cannot have its accuracy lowered thanks to Keen Eye. So this Flash Kinesis nonsense is going to work on me. And I've got Pursuit in the form of a Dark move, so that will allow me to take out this Abra fairly quickly. Assuming, yeah, it doesn't know anything. It probably knows Teleport, but unfortunately Teleport doesn't really do anything in a trainer battle. In the wild, it allows you to escape automatically, but when you're fighting another person, it doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. In fact, it doesn't do anything. I don't know if that's changed in the more recent generations, but... Alright, Spearow could do with some more experience, although if I'm being totally honest, we have Spearow around for the flying-type moves, and we've got Aerial Ace on Heracross now. So I'm not sure how much usage we're going to get out of our Spearow going forward. I want to keep it around at least until it evolves, at the very least, maybe, just because I want to have Fearow, and Fearow's great. I suppose there's some things that Fearow would resist that Heracross does not, that might be nice to have. Although Heracross has a very, very good typing, honestly. Bug fighting, you wouldn't think it'd be all that good, being that it's quadruple weak to flying, but it negates a lot of its own weaknesses, which is very handy. For example, it's not weak to rock like bugs are because fighting resists it. Are you kidding? That was super effective, that's all I got? Oh, that's right, Tangela, I forgot, is incredibly beefy. Well, I could try lowering its defense a little bit, I guess. You wouldn't know it by looking at it, but Tangela has surprisingly high physical defense. And Tang Growth is even more so, the thing that's whatever this thing evolves into. He's buffing up his special for some reason. Now here's the fun thing, Growth back in the original first two generations didn't increase your special attack, it increased your regular attack. And that wasn't super great on Pokemon that, for example, you only learn, it's a Grass-type move, right? Well, I don't actually know if, no, Growth itself is not a Grass-type move, but most of the things that learn it were Grass-type. So what would happen is, you'd have Pokemon that are Grass-type buffing their attack using Grass-type moves, which, by the way, were all special before this generation, so it really didn't make that big of a difference. Might be able to beat this thing as long as he doesn't go to town on me here. I don't know what all these growths he's pumping out are going to do, but he's probably got Mega Drain or something to that effect behind him here. And he missed with Sleep again, so I might get a chance as long as this kills him. Yep, that'll do it. Nice job, Tangela. Not sure what you were meant to pull off with that particular moveset there, but thanks for the level on my Spearow, I appreciate it. Was that all he had, was that Tangela? I think so, yep, that's it. This guy is one of the kids we can talk to and will potentially give us things. He notices items on the ground. Now, one of the things that he can find is a Firestone. And I would very much love it if he did find me a Firestone. That would be fantastic. So, who's this person? Flower Shop's Fiora. So this is that weird tree thing again that we can't get through. It's obvious what it is if you know anything about this game, but we can't get through until we have the watering can, which we don't get until we beat Whitney, who is the 3rd gym leader. So we need to go back and defeat her before we can progress any further. So we're going to take a quick detour here and run back to Goldenrod. And I'm going to go ahead and heal up real quick because as you saw, my team is looking a little worse for wear at the moment, and I want to make sure that doesn't stay that way. Certainly not so for a gym battle, although I might go train up at the national park before we do the gym. I believe Whitney's best Pokemon is around level 20, might even be higher than that. So I want to make sure my team's ready for that. Heracross is probably going to make mincemeat of that whole gym, if I'm being totally honest. It's a normal type gym, which is the first instance of that we see in the series in this game. Well, in the original Gold and Silver at any rate. Normal type only has one weakness, which is fighting, and I happen to have a fighting type Pokemon that doesn't actually know any fighting type moves yet, but as I've been saying for the last couple of levels, I'm 99% certain it does learn one very soon. As my frame rate takes a hit here in Goldenrod. I probably should stock up on some potions and whatnot, or at least some status healing not abilities, but items before we go into that gym. A lot of the things in that gym will have some really gnarly tricks for us that I'm not looking forward to. One of the biggest ones Whitney has herself, although thankfully I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. Yeah, construction's underway, whatever. So I'm actually recording this on a different day than the bug catching contest occurred, so I can't go into it again. That's fine, I don't need to. Now we can actually enter the national park properly. There's a sunkern in the trees there. Or in the grass, I should say. The Pokewalker. What is the Pokewalker, you may be asking? Well, the Pokewalker was a pedometer that came with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, at least initially. Here's that camera and photographer guy. No, I don't want a photograph, thank you. He's all over the place. The Pokewalker was really interesting in that it allowed you to, quote-unquote, raise a Pokemon while you're walking. Oh, I got a Quick Claw. Sweet. That could come in handy. I might give that to Ekans. In fact, what is Ekans holding right now? Shell Bell. That's not super useful on him. Why don't I go ahead and give him the Quick Claw? That'll give him a shot at occasionally going first, which is very useful. And as for the Shell Bell, I'm going to give that to Heracross, I think. Because he does a lot of damage, and he'll be able to benefit from the healing from that. Miracle Seeds on Chikorita. Slowpoke and Spearow don't have any items, sadly, but I don't have anything for them yet. So the Pokewalker was neat. I actually had one of these. I think I still do somewhere, but it sadly doesn't work any longer. But it was a pedometer you got with the game, and it allowed you to transfer a Pokemon in your game onto the Pokewalker itself, and you could walk around with it. And you could actually encounter and capture wild Pokemon with it, I think, but only like one at a time. You could pick up items in the wild, and while it was counting your steps, it was giving you experience points. So you could raise a Pokemon just by walking around with it in real life, which is really neat. Snubbull is not Fairy type yet, so Dark type still works on it. Well, it does too now, but... Oh, give me a break with this charm garbage. You know what? I'm just going to kill this thing. I hate Snubbull. So I had one of those for a while, but sadly, I actually had two of them because I own Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the physical cartridges, so I do have two of them, but one of them was destroyed. I don't know how this happened, but I was getting out of my car with it, and it was a strap to my belt, and it got... I must have brushed against my car door or something, because as I got out of the car, it latched off of my belt and onto the door, and then I went and closed the door of my car, not realizing that it was stuck to it, and I didn't slam it per se, but I closed it hard enough that it just smashed the thing. And I was like, what happened? How does that? I don't know. It was some crazy random instance of that's unbelievable, and I can't believe that happened, but so yeah, that one was destroyed. Thankfully at the time, I don't know that I had anything important transferred to it that I was raising or anything, because I don't think I would have been able to get it back, but I went and picked up the other cartridge and got another one, and that one has sadly died since then. I still have the thing physically, but I don't think it works anymore. Nobody in this national park gives you anything important, so I will not be getting any of their phone numbers. The other fun thing, too, I learned this from a random video that I was watching, is apparently that the pedometer inside the Pokewalker was, like, one of the most accurate in existence at the time. Like, it was incredibly accurate at counting your steps, which was really surprising to me. I'm like, this thing's a video game peripheral. And, like, actual pedometers that track your steps, like, you know, Fitbits and stuff, I don't know if the newer ones are any more accurate. I assume they probably are. The technology's only going to get better, right? But I just found that really fascinating, that was, at the time, one of the most accurate pedometers you could get. Sadly, I didn't use it a whole great deal for keeping in shape. I don't, unfortunately, do a whole lot of exercising in my daily life, but hey, a Sunkern, nice. I will definitely catch one of those, just for the sake of having it. I don't think a single peck is going to kill it. I sincerely doubt it. Well, I've been proven wrong. Unbelievable. A single peck doesn't do anything to a Tangela, but it outright murders a Sunkern in one hit. I wasn't staring at you, I was walking through the grass, but okay, I guess we'll have a battle. Last Chrissy? Chrissy? I'm not sure. Whatever. Anyway. Oh, plant types for me to peck at. How wonderful of you. Could be using Heracross to get him to the threshold of learning that fighting move that I need him to learn, but there's a few more trainers to deal with. So what in the world? Okay, even as a crit, that's obscene. An Oddish with an... Oh, man, that is unbelievable. Okay, so that was complete and utter garbage. I suppose my physical defense is horse crap on this thing, but still, a Cubone, eh? You know, I've never really had a great deal of affinity for Cubone Marowak until recently. And what changed is the advent of Alolan Marowak, because that thing is utterly insane, and I love it. It hits like an absolute truck, and it has some of the coolest typing in Fire Ghost. I'm a massive fan of Chandelure and its line in Generation 5, which are also Fire Ghost. So it's a really cool typing. It's not super great for defensive reasons, but in fact it doesn't really add anything. Ghost doesn't resist anything that Fire is weak to, and vice versa, but it is a very cool typing nonetheless. Being able to pull off super effective flamethrowers and shadow balls is pretty awesome, and with stab nonetheless. Sadly, Chandelure isn't anything to sneeze at when it comes to competitive, I don't believe. It's not particularly amazing, to my knowledge. I do like it a lot, but I don't think it's, you know, winning any matches anytime soon. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't watch a lot of competitive Pokemon. Hey, look at this! We finally get ourselves an evolution here. Is this the first evolution on my team? I think it is. It's about bloody time. Convenient that it's my starter. But that'll add a nice chunk of defensive boosts, I think. The evolution there. I don't think we learn any moves. I think you're cool? No, you were not. Sorry. I don't want your phone number. So yeah, Bayleaf. I like Bayleaf quite a bit. Should be pretty bulky now. Oh, look at that. Alright. Wow, this thing's really good across the board. I didn't realize just how, like, good. I mean, I think Meganium in the ultimate stretch is pretty darn great. I mean, there's no bad starters, right? They're all designed to be pretty great in the long run, given that they're your go-to Pokemon for most of the game, so... This guy's only got one Pokemon. What is it? A Raichu. Interesting. I don't have any ground types, but what I do have is a Bayleaf that resists electricity and is also quite bulky to boot. Shouldn't do a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, it does enough. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and poison this thing before I heal myself. Thunderbolt, that's not going to do a great deal, I don't think. Yeah, did enough. Unfortunately, if I go for Synthesis and he goes first and does that again, I'm going to die in the process. Whether he tries that again or not, I don't know, but why don't we go ahead and minimize that possibility and just use a potion and then Synthesis while I worry about healing myself. That'll do. He went for Quick Attack. Well, I probably could have survived that. I could have, yet with 1 HP, I could have survived that. But I'll just go ahead and heal myself up while he's dying from poison. Thunder Shock? So wait a minute, you know Thunder Shock and Thunderbolt, and you're using the weaker one? I never understood why some of these trainer movesets, like, they just don't make any sense. And you're hurt by poison, of course you are. Well, I think it's time to go with the... Probably could have taught Headbutt instead of Tackle. That might have been useful. Why didn't I do that? I think I've been waiting for it to learn a better move, but I don't think it learns Body Slam until it evolves into Meganium, unfortunately. But it does learn Body Slam at some point, I know that for a fact. And Body Slam is awesome. Probably one of the best, I'm not going to say the best, but it's a really good normal type move. Does a decent chunk of damage with a very high chance of paralysis. I think it's like 30% chance to paralyze, which is unbelievable. Let me just heal myself up here while you die from poison. The thing with Meganium, and this is a problem I had with Venusaur too, and I don't get me wrong, I love Venusaur, it's my favorite of the Generation 1 starters. But the thing that I have an issue with both of them is that they're definitely not usually, at any rate, direct attacking Pokemon. They're more focused on on support moves and things, but we'll talk about that next time. And I'm not answering that phone, by the way. But we'll talk more about what I think about some starters and stats and whatnot next time. So thank you all for joining me to this point. I really do appreciate it. We're going to finish up the National Park next episode and possibly get into the Goldenrod Gym. So stay tuned for that. I will see you then. And until that time, this has been Seraphin. Stay classy, internets.